Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome to this week's episode of Steelers Touch Down Under. I'm Matty Peverell with Marky D, as always. How you doing on this cold, wet, and miserable Saturday morning for us in Australia, Mark?
It's absolutely ludicrous how bad the weather is. It is just raining cats and dogs. It is crazy. It's just insane. I've just never just every half an hour just buckets down rain.
It's like, we got Britsburg Owen in the live chat. It's like being in the UK, or it's one of those ones where it's cold and it's wet. And particularly when you've been over to the US and you watch the Steelers game. So there's a little bit of Steeler vibes as well about it. But it's like, you're kind of like, where's the Christmas tree? Where's the hot chocolate? Where's all the tinsel? Where's the Christmas to this? What's the point of being cold if you're not going to have Christmas? I don't know
if our listeners can hear it, but literally I can hear it through the headphones, outside. It is.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear it through mine. So yeah,
it's fun, man. It's a good time to talk Steelers, I guess. And you and I are meant to try and catch up for a beer today, but now it's not going to happen. I don't think so. It's just too wet. It's like batten down the hatches, build the Noah's Ark kind of style,
Yeah, that's it.
Literally, man. It is coming down. Woohoo!
J Devil's meanwhile, it's 95 F or 35 C over there. Exactly. Oh
yeah.
It's yeah, well, let's start off right off the bat. I mean, today's show, we're going to do what we usually do in the bye week on Touchdown Under, which is we're trying to look at the record prediction. We did this last year. We did the previous year with the bye, but last year we did it. Obviously, it was the first bye, before the season, between the preseason and the season. And it was interesting to see how much we shifted as well. And now you've got to see a little bit of product on the field. So, yeah, it's a chance for Mark and I to save a little bit of face, maybe. But we'll see sort of where that those predictions sort of lie. But we've got a lot of favorites in the live chat as always, not just J Devil and Britsburg Owen. Kathy's in there, I think. John Davis, he asked, do you see Kenny Pickett starting? We'll take that question on later in the show. Jerry Cherrybrand, Claude, Tribe, State of the Steelers. So it's a good little crew starting to take shape. And so, you know what, Mark? Actually, John's asked, do you see Kenny Pickett starting? After we get through, I'm going to ask you some weeks of the season as we go through the record whether Kenny Pickett plays that game or not. How about we tackle it from that perspective? And Mark and I will try and run through this as fast as we can so that you guys are able to ask a few questions as well. But last time we did this show earlier on in the
can't say that.
Last time it was 5 minutes to go and we had 4 games left on the schedule. It was hilarious. So yeah, we'll see how we track. All right, well, let's crack into it, Mark. Steelers preseason 3-0 next week, or September 11th. They go into the Bengals stadium. How are they going to go? Are they going to come away with a win or a loss?
Yeah, you know what? This is exactly the same. And look, okay, I'm biased through all these predictions, but I will have them, losing some games. But I really think there's a big chance Steelers can win this game. I really do. They got better in the offseason. Now, the offensive line is a big problem, right? We still have Najee Harris, so we still have Fry. If we have, receiver weapons, I think that George Pickens will come out too and play really well. And depending who the quarterback is, if Trubisky, they got a chance, mate. It's 0-0, and then both teams don't, know what to expect besides last year's performance. And the Bengals have a lot of pressure. Every single, I think, NFL Network analyst the other day, all 10 of them chose the Bengals to win. What better way to go out there and do exactly the same thing that they did with the Bills last year? And turn up and play physical defense and win the game. So I've got them winning this game. I want to know.
I have them as a loss, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a win. I was really looking at this objectively. And to me, the only reason why I'm saying this is a loss is that O-line. That's why, and when you're facing guys like, Trey Hendrickson and those sorts of guys, I think that O-line's just got to be better. So, that being said, they still did well against the Jags, who I think have in many ways a better pass rush. But also, I look at them, the offensive line. Like, to beat the Bengals, I said this last year, and I said this actually as well, I think, when the last time we did this record prediction in the offseason. To beat the Bengals, you've got to score points. And I just don't think that the offense will be ready to score enough points, if that makes sense. Like, they're not going to keep Trubisky clean enough so that when Burrow throws it up and Jamar Chase has got 3 touchdowns, they're just not going to be able to catch that. So, and their offensive line with Mixon behind it is, if the Steelers end up a touchdown down or a couple of field goals behind, I just think they're just going to run. They're just going to hold the ball and put, tighten the screws on the Steelers. So yeah, I got it as a loss. All right, how about the next week? First home game of the season, Acrisure Stadium, New England Patriots.
I actually think we win this one too. I think we go 2-0. So I think a lot of my picks are relying on the defense to play like outstanding football from the get-go when we're being healthy and letting the offense kind of get into rhythm. I think anytime you go into that stadium, Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium, doesn't matter what you call it, I think it's really hard for young quarterbacks. And Mac Jones is heading into his second year, I'm pretty sure, right? And he's not the best bloke out there, but it's still the Patriot way, and it's going to be a tough physical game. But I think this might come down to Chris Boswell's leg, 27-24. I think we win.
Yeah, when I was thinking about this, I do see a world where they're 0-2, but I'm going to take this as a win as well. I think you're right. I think the defense can win them this game on their own. I also think the Patriots, it's harder to play them at cold and at night, I think, or at their home. It's different when they're coming to Pittsburgh in the heat, and that's better. I think you'll see Najee Harris start to, really, hit his stride. So yeah, I'm excited for that one as well. So I'll take that as a win. Cleveland. Then they go away to the Cleveland Browns on a Thursday night, short turnaround. How do you think they're going to go there?
This should be a win. However, I don't like the term, what do they call it? Trap game or whatever, because the Browns have been awful this offseason with all the drama and all the stuff going on. It should be a win. So I'm going to say 3-0. But just let's be very careful this game, I think. Be very careful because it's short. We last year the Steelers went to the Vikings and got blown out of town in that short week. So I'm going to go 3-0, and then as Matty gets himself there.
When you got to sneeze and you're
awesome.
holding it, and then it's like, oh, it's coming on quick.
That's how much you think of the Browns. That's how much you think of the Browns. 3-0, man. I know it's crazy, but it will get worse. Don't worry. It's all cool. Well, it might get worse.
All right. I'm going to say they lose this game.
Sure
Trubisky, 2 to 3 interceptions, and he doesn't play. As a result, he doesn't start the next week.
Oh, really? They only give him a 3-game, short leash, and then Kenny Pickett versus the Jets, Jets.
Yeah.
Yeez.
Because they realize that he's the only that Trubisky is not going to be able to take them into Buffalo. Who know him inside out and beat them, so they warm him up with a game against the New York Jets.
And then it's got to be Josh Allen versus Kenny Pickett.
Cherry says right into the mic. Sorry, I was. When you sneeze and the vision starts to go, and I'm looking for the mute button. I'm trying to find the pointer. If anyone's seen the new Top Gun movie, it's like when Maverick, they're trying to find the laser guided missile. It's like that. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Anyway,
that's funny.
Oh, classic. All right, so I have them then. Kenny Pickett, first start, New York Jets, win.
Yeah, well, I've got them winning anyway because it's the Jets. They don't have a quarterback.
So you've got a 4-0 to kick off.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, because I've got.
Mate, you're going to go 14-3, I reckon.
I've got a method to the madness because on my Still in Australia, if they go 4-0, I'm going to make the best video of all time, calling out all the Tomlin haters and calling out all the Bengals, Joe Burrow fans.
Yeah, nice. All right, how about...
I don't like that guy at all, man.
How about at Buffalo? What happens when they go away to Buffalo?
Oh, we lose.
There's just no...
yeah, I don't think we can beat Buffalo, man. I don't think we can beat Buffalo. I think we can hang with the Bengals because we know them. You think we can beat Buffalo?
Yeah, I do. I think the thing with Buffalo is they rely on Diggs way too much, and I think they don't have the running game to support that with the Steelers. I think the Steelers' run defense has figured it out by then. Liao is really pushing for a starting spot. You've got Alawalu. Now that we've got Malik Reed as well, they can just rotate TJ and Highsmith and just keep him fresh. I think this one might come down to Boswell's boot. But yeah, I see him going into Buffalo and taking a win.
Yeah, right. Okay. That's different. It's so different the way we're thinking. It's so different.
I'm also just thinking about it. Like, just trying to, get into the crystal ball and think ahead. And now we've also started to see the teams take shape as well.
You've got us losing to the Browns, but beating Buffalo.
Or I think on the short week after a tough start to the season.
Short week. Yeah.
In Cleveland, I just think that's a hard one for him.
Tomlin's a winner, and you need to deal with it. Thank you, gentlemen.
I know Tomlin's a winner. I love Tomlin.
No, I'm just telling the whole world, because we're worldwide. Mr. Worldwide.
DJ Khaled.
What if you and I did that? What if you and I just went out and just made a song, right? Would we be famous? Would we be famous?
Probably not, because it'd stink. It'd be Flush It Down with the Browns.
Yeah, right. I just think some of these songs
we'd have Jerry Cherry having to do a lot of editing and using a lot of synthesizer.
me and Owen were talking about this today, so shout out to Owen. You know what I'm saying? Like the AB, get your what on? Isn't that crazy? That dance?
Nah, I'm lost.
You haven't seen AB out of town, like doing his little dance?
I don't follow anything that clown says.
Oh, I have to. It's like a car on fire. I have to look at it.
Right. Well, let's move on to the Tampa game.
Okay.
So Tampa, what do you see happening here?
Easy W, mate. I think it's time for Tom Brady to finally. The guy can't move.
Is Trubisky still playing at this point?
If I'm 5-1, they are. Yep, he is.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm sorry, 4-1 they are. I think the Steelers at home against the Bucs. The time is over for Tom Brady to. He's had our number for 40 years, right? He's been playing that long, and the time's over, man. We have a better defense. I think by now you should have figured out what Tom Brady does. Is check down to his running backs and finds the.
To me, it's not about their offense; it's about their defense.
Who, Tampa?
Their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, but I just want to see Tom Brady lose. Look how biased I am. Look, I'm not even thinking about the play, like the actual skill set. I'm just thinking about the players because I just can't stand Tom Brady. How is he still in the league? Like, honestly, how is he still in the league? 20-odd years, and the minute he retires, we have to watch him on TV. We never get a break.
Yeah, but for me, I think he's overhyped, and maybe it's because we're way on the other side of the world. But there's a lot of people will say things like that, and then when he does eventually retire, who are you gonna hate next?
Still Tom Brady because he's in the box. I hate as much as I hate Tony Romo.
I know. You know what? He's gonna be terrible if Drew Brees couldn't do well in the box. He's gonna be awful. Did
you see his photo the other day when he was going through his personal?
Yeah, mate. I saw a funny meme where they were like, he's trying to become a good-looking Squidward from from SpongeBob SquarePants. It's a good meme. You can hit Google, do it after the show. It's great. All right, I had them losing this game because I believe Pickett starts and the defense just makes it too difficult for him. So I'm chalking it up as a loss. Then they go away to Miami. Sunday. It's a good game there. What do you say in this game?
You know what? Is it Tua? Tua's playing, right? They had I think I read somewhere I just saw the headline.
That's assuming that he's not injured and Bridgewater's in him by that stage.
Didn't Bridgewater get injured too, or no? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he did. I'm not sure if he did.
I don't think so.
Feels like whatever team he goes to, he gets injured.
Which is a real shame. He was good before he got injured at the Vikings. He was playing some good football.
This one I've noticed as well. I think with this game, the Dolphins, I had heard some things around the NFL media that the Dolphins are playing quite well in preseason, having a good team together. Yeah. So this will be interesting. Because I'm kind of excited to see this game too, because they're kind of like a fresh new team as well. with Tua and those kind of blokes in there. So I don't.
So I don't think the
don't
thing
know.
for me is I have the Steelers winning this because I don't think their defense is going to do the same things without Brian Flores. I just don't. That game that we talk about. That game we talk about last year. That they're not going to be able. They're not going to be able to call plays like that.
I forgot Flores. They win easy. Done. Next.
All right, Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this is hard because Philadelphia are a good team, man. Like Philadelphia are looking good.
Me and Owen were discussing the other day. I think they haven't won in Philadelphia since like 1990 or something.
Yeah, I know. I put that stuff a little bit to one side. I'm interested in this team. They got good defense. They got a good O-line.
What's your thought on Hurts? I don't mind Hurts.
I don't mind him. Apparently, remember that kid?
Apparently.
I can do a bit more today because I'm all blocked up. I'm not well. But some people might say I'm not well just generally. No, I like Hurts. I think he can be something. Apparently, as what I was going to say then, yes. Apparently, Daniel Jeremiah was saying the other day that a lot of people in that building are really high on him. So I think, having a guy like AJ Brown that can do a lot in that short passing, run behind the line of scrimmage sort of stuff helps them out. Devonta Smith, they're going to be a good team, man.
Do you reckon that Jalen Hurts has signed a deal with the rental company Hurts and they're working together?
It's different spelling.
Yeah, the same name. Like I would.
I don't know.
I would do that.
I don't know. It's interesting. I'd be interested to see I'll try and pull it up now, what their schedule is like, because if they've played, who have they got before the Steelers?
Is it the
so they've got the bye before the Steelers. They're not. There's no way the Steelers are winning this game. They're not going to beat. They're not going to beat that Philadelphia team off the bye.
Yeah, we haven't had the number. So yeah, I actually like what Jalen Hurts is doing. Here's my hot take. I think the Eagles win the division. I think the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think they do too. I mean, the Commanders. If the Commanders come out and Wentz plays well, they're got a good defense. Like they're gonna be all right, and they got two good running backs. I mean, thoughts go out to Brian Robinson after being shot up, but and they don't have that hard a run home either. Like they go that their last 5 games in New York Bears, Dallas, New Orleans, New York Giants. But I think they got the division now. I don't think that's not even
Yeah, so I got them losing. So Owen says it's 1965, the last time we won in Philadelphia. That's a long time ago. I
don't know.
That's before you went. That's like you and I combined.
It's almost before before I wasn't even able to be combined. My parents were born in 1963.
There you go. That's a very long time. And they would hold true to that. If I was a football team, I'd be like, okay, we haven't lost them in this long. Let's fire up, right?
I think it's the bye. I just think it's that team with a bye the week before. Like, yeah,
they're going to be a very tough team. So I've got them in so far at 6-2 before our bye. What do you have?
So do you have this a loss or a win?
Loss.
Right. So you've got.
Should be 6-2. Is it not? Oh, what am I doing? Oh,
no, you got a 7. I've got you here at a 7-1. That was your first loss.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go.
Unless you had us losing to. Did you have us losing to Buffalo?
Nah, Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo lost. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, then, then you're 6-2.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So then we've got the bye, and then they go play. Then New Orleans come to Acrisure Stadium, which is when I truly do believe at that stage, unless we are 6-2 or better, as you say, then Pickett's starting if he hasn't already taken the field.
So Saints versus Steelers in Pittsburgh. I got to say, if we have a bye, we should be able to win that game. Even if it comes down to a field goal from Boz, I would say win.
I say win as well, because this is what New Orleans have to go through, right? In the 4 games preceding the Steelers, they've got Bengals, Arizona, Raiders, Baltimore.
They're going to be They're going to be beat up.
Now, admittedly, they play the Raiders and Baltimore at home. I just think like that's 4 games where they're gonna like Winston's gonna have to be the lights out. No Sean Payton. Like, yeah, that's
They'll be eating these W's.
Yeah, that's not a good situation to be in. All right, so we both had that as a win then. And then they go over to then the Bengals come to town. What do you think happens there?
Oh, easy W. Easy.
I had a W there too.
Just no, not an easy W, but like I think this will be out of the 2 games we're going into to Bengals Stadium. This will be, I guess, maybe the Steelers could be more prepared. But then when I say more prepared, you've got the whole year to prepare for the first week. So if you're not prepared for the first week, oh boy. But in saying that, you're at home. You're finding out who your team is by now. For me, I've got them at 7-2, which is quite high actually for this. But hey, I'm biased as. Steelers win, and I've got them at 8-2. Man, I'm going for a high record already.
All right, I had them winning because I think the defense will have learned enough from the first game. And I think the offense will be firing. That you never know who's going to be injured on both sides as well. But this is the sort of game where a Minka shows up and wins in the game, or TJ gets a strip sack, and then the ball spills out.
What are your thoughts on Minka this season? Do you think he's going to have more of an impact than last year? That he'll be able to have a bit more room to run around and get.
I think he had an impact last year. I just don't think people measure and value tackles at key moments, well enough. So I think he will have more splash plays or more plays that people sit there and go, "You're better." But I don't think it's going to be what we saw in 2019, 2020. I think they seem to be rotating him more around the defense, which I think I actually like. So I think
he came in on fire, didn't he? He came out on fire when we got him traded. Like, didn't he have like 3 turnovers in the first game or something?
Yeah,
it was insane. And then we lost first at 49ers. We had 5 turnovers.
Do you know why though? I feel like the mentality was they gave him very little. By all reports, they gave him very little. You have to do this. You have to do that. They just said you need to do this. X. Yeah, go out and play. But this is your one responsibility. And if they can get back to that, but do that this time where he understands the defense. So they say in this game or in this situation, your job is boom. And then anything outside of that you want to make a play, go for it. Then that makes sense. Cool. All right. So then they go away to Indianapolis. Now, this Colts team, I was really high on it going into the season. I don't know now. I don't know, something. I've gone off them a little bit. I don't know why. I don't know.
Probably because Matty Ryan's in the same category as Tom Brady.
So I've got a good mate. One of my really good mates is a Colts fan, and it was his Bucks week last week, and we were talking about the Colts, and he was like, I'm not in on Ryan. I was like, I like Ryan. Ryan wins when he's got good tight ends, good running back. You've got at least Pittman at wide receiver. But then I've heard like the Indianapolis aren't happy with Pittman. So, there was even a rumor that they'd be trading him. So if that's
I thought Pittman's a good wide receiver.
Apparently he's being off the field. Apparently. Well,
very physical.
Reportedly.
He's very physical though. I don't mind Pittman at all. So
yeah. I like Pittman. Oh man, if we could bring Pittman in, I'd trade Claypool for Pittman in three seconds. Like, I think I've said that before on the show, but anyway.
Now, okay, so who wins this game? It's prime time. It's Steelers going away.
Look, Indianapolis are playing the Eagles and the Raiders in the 2 preceding games to this, and the Patriots before that. So,
can Indianapolis put on a lot of points though? So I just think, and maybe
all right, can our defense on the defensive line and in the linebackers, can they stop Jonathan Taylor?
True. Oh no.
Mate, there was one game last year, I forget which game it was. They were meant to lose, or they'd had a bunch of injuries on the O-line, and they literally just lined up this counter run play. And he just ripped it. Was either the last game of the season, or it might have been the first. They missed the playoffs, so it couldn't have been that. It was one of the last 2 games. And the last game they lost to Jacksonville. So it must have been the week before. Anyway, they ran this counter play, and heaps of these O-line guys were out. And he ran like 65 yards and scored this TD. And I was just sitting there going, this is ridiculous at this point. This is just
so it might come down to running the football on either side. So if we can't run the football by then, if our O-line is struggling, then we probably lose this game. You know what? I'm going to change it. I'm going to say we lose this game just based off that knowledge. If we're going that direction, I'll go loss.
I'm going to go win.
All right. I
had to have a loss, indoor, particularly if Pickett's there. I think it's going to be hard though. Like I had them winning. No, actually, they lose that. If they're going to beat the Bengals, they're going to lose that game. All right, then they go away to Atlanta. I don't know what to make of this Atlanta team. I think this Atlanta team is going to be better than other people, but I still think they're like a 4-13 team or a 5-12.
Who are they starting? Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, but the Ritter has played really well in the offset in the preseason, and the other thing to think about is that Ritter and Mariota are going to play a similar game, and so even it doesn't really matter because their offense can stay the same, and I think that's a really key thing that a lot of people are overlooking. And I think two big guys in Pitts and Drake London, you know, if they get the right players around that team in the next couple of years, they're gonna be a really decent team. They also don't have that hard a run in against the Steelers. That's the sort of game that the Steelers lose, and everyone goes, "How the hell did we lose that game?"
Yeah, I think they win that game based on now, but I think they.
You'd hope so. You'd hope
because
so.
Atlanta has not been the same, man. They haven't been the same since.
But that's a game we could lose by like a missed field goal or like a poor interception at the end or something like that. I'm going to go win as well, but it's just I would if anyone's sitting there going that's an automatic win, it's not. All right. Then they go back at home. They come back home and they play the Baltimore Ravens.
The Ravens
get stuffed.
Steelers are garbage. What an intelligent comment. That's great. What a great way to introduce yourself to the chat.
At least we didn't pay Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay. Moving on. Anyway. Ravens. So Ravens, the Steelers have beaten the Ravens 4 times in a row. I actually think we win that game.
So do I. I think they're going to have injuries. I think Lamar, it's all starting to unravel. I think
it's going to be a whole different team.
Even last year, when the Steelers in that game with they went for 2. The Steelers find a way to win against Baltimore, so I'm going to go for it.
They have been recently, right? It used to be like always a 3-point game, but now it's like we're winning those 3-point games, and we've won 4 in a row.
And this is why I wouldn't cut Devin Bush. Like I know he hasn't played every single game against Lamar, but he seems to play pretty well against the Ravens. If you actually look, there's some stuff he does well. It doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, but there's games he plays really well. I think he'll be primed.
Lamar Jackson gets figured out, I think, halfway through the game because they know that if they take away his receivers, then they can just get him in, just get someone trailing him or the middle linebacker or whoever and just run him down. And that's the sort of game. That's the sort of game where I'm hoping Leal has come on enough by then because he's going to throw a spanner in the works for him. And that's the real bonus about having a genuine backup outside linebacker is that you can have these two. Highsmith and TJ are fairly quick, and now you've got Malik Reed in there. It makes it harder for Lamar because there's a threat, and I don't rate their O-line. I just don't. Fair enough.
Like if Ronnie Stanley gets injured, they're stuffed.
Haven't they got the Australian for Lele?
They do.
Yeah, the big fella.
But they'll find a way to. Yeah, everyone goes on about Baltimore's scouting department, and I'm like. Yeah, they acquire all these names, but how are they going to go? And Hamilton, the Steelers are going to have Hamilton figured out. You know what?
I feel
like Hamilton as well. Good luck. Take on Freiermuth. See how you go.
I feel like that the Baltimore coaching staff and their staff is like they wouldn't listen to any input. Like John Harbaugh would be just like, "Nah, our team's good." You know what I mean? They'd be that kind of style. Like, "No, we're the best. We know who we are. We're the best." It's like, well, actually, that guy, he's actually really terrible. No. I like him. So, because that's the way they play preseason.
But the Steelers have to go into this game not wanting to throw the football around. They got to play like hard nose, run it, short passing, and that's where I think Pickett would be at an advantage there. If Trubisky's still playing, they're losing that game. But I think Trubisky is not starting by then.
So we're going to win them both. I got him 10-3. Far out.
I've got him at. Well, we're almost at the end of the record anyway. Then they go away to Carolina. It's hard to think about what this Carolina team is going to be.
Mate, the Baker. G'day,
But
Baker.
if McCaffrey stays fit with Baker, they've got a couple of good wide receivers. That team, I'm not saying that team's like going to, go deep into the NFC playoffs or anything like it, but that team will be better than what people think it is.
That's going to be TJ Watt versus Baker again. I think he's going to be, seeing ghosts like Sam Darnold, did a few years ago.
He might be injured by then, mate. We could be playing Darnold.
He could be traded to someone else. Who knows where he's going? But imagine if Darnold's in there too. They're both seeing ghosts. So they're both on the same team, aren't they? That's right. Are they like two number one picks or something? Like the Jets was number one.
Consecutive drafts. Yeah,
that's amazing. I think we have a chance to win that game. To be honest, I
think we win it too.
Man, I'm 11 wins already. We've already won the AFC North in my accounts.
I think you need 12. I think you need 12 from the AFC North. All right. Then they have the Raiders at home.
Man, you know what? If I win the lotto in between then, I'm going to go over this game. I think this will be one of the funnest games to watch. Christmas Eve, Steelers versus.
Do you know what I loved? I played this game last week on Madden, and in the intro, they actually talked about it being the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception.
This would be an amazing game.
I couldn't believe they did that. Saturday,
Christmas Eve. Where else would you want to be? Like, I know it's like family and stuff too, but like if you live in Pittsburgh, go down the game, take your kids, just go. It's a bit. When I was there for the Christmas Day game, it was the best environment I've ever been in my life.
That's what I can't look. Maybe it's because I've got a bit of a fragmented family. But if I got a choice between Christmas lunch, and I love making Christmas lunch and going to watch the Steelers with a couple of key family members, I'm picking black and gold family every time, man. Sorry, guys. Like, I could see you any other week, man. Like, I'm going. Like,
I left Australia for a year and a half, and then I left my work environment in Banff to go to Steelers versus Ravens Christmas Day because I knew I was going to be surrounded by family. I was surrounded by the black and gold nation. I loved it.
If I get a good end of year bonus before then, I'm thinking about just doing a surprise, sneaky, like just buying a couple of tickets, and then a couple of days before Christmas, my fiance, we're getting on a plane. She'll be like, "What?"
Just go hang out with Tomlin on the sidelines. Be fantastic. Help it.
I can say it's not about what you're capable of. It's not what you're willing. It's what you're willing to do. I can say that. I don't speak Tomlinisms.
It would be fun, man. That game would be one of the funnest games. I think. Like, just the atmosphere is going to be crazy. So, you know what? I think we win this game. I think are the Raiders pumped up as much as we are? Immaculate reception. 50 years on. Come on, this has to be. This is the number one game.
The thing about it for me with this game, it'll either be really tight and competitive, or I can say it won't, and people go, duh, cliche. But I think that goes back to, are the Raiders in the hunt for the playoffs or not? If they're not in the hunt, I think this becomes a simpler game for them, like a simpler game for the Steelers. But if they are in the hunt, that's a different scenario. They also have an interesting lead-in because they go Chargers, Rams, Patriots, then Pittsburgh. So it depends again, how tough those two LA games are for them. And then after that, they go San Francisco, Kansas City. So I think it's going to depend a little bit on where their record is sitting. All right. So do we have them as a win or a loss?
I've got them as a win. So I'm 12-3, which is crazy because they're probably not a 12-3 team. But it's just so hard to put the bias aside, isn't it? Sometimes it really is.
All right.
So why else would I watch?
Then they've got Baltimore away.
Right. Okay. This is where I'm going to put my bias aside. So I'm going to have them losing because I think it's really tough playing in Baltimore. If my schedule is going the same way, 12-3, it's okay to get a loss here. 12-4. So I've got them losing this one. But it all depends. This is so far away. And is it Kenny Pickett? Is it Trubisky? Is it Rudolph still there? Whether they're just playing him, I don't know. If there's injuries, I hope we're all healthy, but we all know how these things pan out in the season. What happens at the start does not, come true near the end. And do we even see Lamar Jackson? Is he going to be injured, or the receiver wise? There's so many variables, but it's hard to play. I think we get a loss.
So I have it. If Trubisky's playing, I have it as a loss. I think Pickett can come in with confidence and win that game. I did think they're going into the season they'd split it with Baltimore. But again, as you said, it comes down to, is Lamar injured or not? And are they in the hunt for the playoffs? I'm going to chalk this up as a loss as well because I just think after if they go 4 wins in a row as I have them, and so do you, I just see this as a hard one for them to travel away to.
It's always hard to play in Baltimore.
And that hype as well, of playing the Raiders. It's New Year's Day.
It's a big game.
Yeah. All right. Then they finish the season, which they seem to do every year at the moment, against the Cleveland Browns at home. Who wins that game?
I'm going to actually say a loss too, so I'm going to humble myself a little bit.
Wow. 2 divisional losses to finish the season.
I have to get my record.
That might mean no AFC North, mate.
But I have to get my record to at least look like it's something, because it's like it was going to be like 15-3 or something. No, what, 15-2? So now it's going to be 13-4.
I have it as a win.
So 12-5.
I have it as a win. Right. I think they win that game coming off Baltimore. They're not resting guys.
Who's the quarterback for the Browns?
I don't think it matters because I don't know. Is Garrett, everyone talks about TJ being healthy. Is Garrett going to be healthy? If Garrett's not healthy, that defense looks a lot weaker really quickly.
Yeah. This could come down to a lot of playoff, implications as well for the numbers, the 7, the 6, the AFC North.
Also, do you know what I love? Even if Watson's playing, he will have played the Commanders the previous week, and that defense will have absolutely battered and bruised that offense. Like they go Bengals, Ravens. So Bengals will take it to them. Baltimore will go in and bruise them up too. Then they go New Orleans. They have New Orleans at home, but New Orleans will look to score points. That'll be an intense game. Then they've got to go over to the Commanders at home. And that defense, regardless of what the offense is doing, we saw it when the Steelers were 11-0. That defense knows how to play. Ron Rivera could be, playing that game. Could even go down and decide part of his job. I think the Browns, even with Watson, are limping into this game.
And it all depends where they're going to be too. I don't think they have a very successful season this year with all the drama going on. So they could be easy 6 and 9 at that stage, or 6-10, whatever it is. They could be out of the playoff race, out of everything, 5 and whatever, just scraping along. But I still think to make mine a little bit better, I think when they lose, but we'll see what happens. It's so far away. We don't know.
Steelers chick, we lose last 2, no playoffs. Interesting.
Oh, that would be crazy. Imagine that. If we were just there, right on the cusp of it, and we did lose. Because that's 2 tough games. Really.
Well, you have them 12-5. I have them 11-6. There are a couple here that I, have picked wins for because I can't argue with the fan in me. But so I kind of think this is a 9-11 win team now.
I agree with you. My 12-5 is a bit too high. I actually think it's going to be a 9-10, 11 win. And they're going to be hard games as well. So now some of the betting games,
which is so interesting because you were 14-3 when we did this last time, and I was 13-4.
Yeah, it's too much. It's way too much. But realistically, I think 11 is. I would be very happy with 11 or even 10 to make the playoffs. To be honest, with this team. So, and I think they can. I think competitively on the defense we can do that. And if the Steelers can run the ball and just play offense, just move the guys around and come together as a unit, I think we got a chance. But you got to control the AFC North, I think, too. You can't lose to the Bengals twice. You can't lose to the Ravens twice, really, or the Browns or whatever. So, got to control those guys, have a chance for at least a title, and then maybe chance for the playoffs. And then if we get the playoffs, of course, there are going to be the Tom haters out there. He never wins. But it's a brand new team. And we could be seeing Pickett by that stage. We really could be.
Mm.
He's played in playoff atmosphere, games before. Why not? So we'll see. This is a whole different team, guys. It's so different without Ben. We always talk about it. Ben was slower. This offense looks different. George Pickens, these guys, defensive-wise, if they can get things together, I think they can shock the Bengals and hopefully have a good year. But their offensive line is really shaky right now. But, it's still preseason too. We tend to overreact to a lot of things as well as fans. And we talk it every day, right? You and I talk it every day. Fans of BTSC listen to podcasts every day. So it's we overreact so much. But the minute they go out and beat the Bengals, it's let's go. It's 1-0. I think We just got to calm down a little bit, enjoy this season, because I don't like the off season. It's hard away in the corner, and I'm waiting for Steelers football again. And if you just don't enjoy the season, and you just want the Super Bowl tomorrow, then the season's over. Like, it's going to be fantastic, man. I know you and I are excited to watch it at 3 a.m.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
There's a lot. There's no 5 a.m. games really, is there? We don't get any 6 a.m. games for us. We get all 3 a.m. games. Not many. No. Mostly 1 p.m. kickoffs, which is like.
But there's the good things are there's a few Sunday night and Friday night. Sunday night and Thursday night games, which is helpful because that means that you can kind of take Fridays or Mondays off and have long weekends and watch it. So I'm kind of excited for that. But yeah, it's kind of a. So it's a. I don't know. I don't love the schedule in some ways. Like I don't know. There's just some. I don't know.
We still have five prime time games, right? But we have only one 4:30. No, we don't. We have no game. We have all prime time or all 1 p.m. games.
No, there's one 4:30, isn't there?
Nah, that was versus the Lions.
Oh, it was versus the Lions, yeah.
So I don't know, and they may change too, right? But it seems like they don't want the Steelers.
They'll flex. Yeah, there's a few of these games down the stretch they could flex.
So, what do we have them? We have them. Do you reckon they can win the AFC North? Like real talk.
Look, Britsburg, I went in the live chat said 3 out of the 4 teams get to the playoffs. I actually don't think that's the case. People said the same thing about the AFC North before with this season, before like Russell Wilson went to the Broncos. Like, I think it's going to be really hard. I don't think they can win the North. I think they can make the playoffs, but I don't think they can win the North. I think it's going to be. I just think, especially if they're going to lose 2 games down the stretch, as you said there. Like those 2 Baltimore games, that's going to decide whether they win the North or not. If they can win both of those games, it's a possibility. But they're going to need to have more division wins because they're going to probably have the same win total as whoever the other team is, whether it's the Bengals or Baltimore.
So you got Bengals or you got Baltimore to win?
Bengals.
Okay, back to back.
Yeah, I think because when I look at the Bengals, I think they can just score more points than Baltimore, and they're more sturdy at the quarterback position, given like all the crap going on with Lamar. I'm just trying to pull up their record as well. Like, I think they get a lot of the tough games out of the way early, and then,
But you're right, because
down the stretch they go Pittsburgh Titans. I own the Titans. I actually don't. I'm not up on the Titans this year. I'm the average. And they got to play Kansas City, but they're playing them at home, and they had their measure last year. Mm-hmm. Then they have got Cleveland at home, so they could be out of the bye. Even if they lose to the Steelers, they could be 3-1. Then they go to Tampa. I think Burrow can throw all over that defense. Then they go up to New England. That could be a trap game, but who knows? Then they've got Buffalo, Baltimore. Like, I just think they've got an easy run into their bye as well. They go Saints, Falcons, Browns, Panthers. They could go into their bye. Yeah. What have they got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They could go into their bye 7-2 or 8-1. Even 9-0. If they beat the Steelers in week 1, and as long as they beat Baltimore, they could be 9-0 in the bye, man.
Yeah, because then you have the advantage over the AFC North teams, right? If you beat them, and then and that's a possibility because they're the hot team right now for sure. But
I'm much higher on the Bengals have a much better roster than the Ravens. The Ravens are full of Jeff Hartman's hated potential players versus the Bengals that are like they've now got guys that are proven. And that acquisition of Dax Hill as well for their safeties, like, look, remember 2 years ago I said that they were going to be a pretty good team, and then they looked all right, and then Burrow got injured. And then last year I said the Bengals are going to be really good. When we did this show last year before the season, I was like, the Bengals are going to be really good. And everyone's like, nah, and you were giving me shit.
I just mute you. I mute you every time. I don't want to hear that talk.
They're a good team, man.
No, I know they're a good team, but they're still 0-3 in Super Bowl. Let me have
But their problem, they're going to have the problem that everyone else has, which is why Pickett could be the future of the Steelers, because is he ever going to be worth $500 million contract over 10 years. I don't think anyone's going to sign him to that, right? But Burrow is going to cost them $600 million by the time he's rookie. He's going to have to do like an 8 to 10 year, 60 mil per. Like, that's ridiculous.
Joe Shiesty. Is that what he's called?
I don't know why I hate him so much. I
just don't like his face. I don't like his face. Not a fan of his face.
It's
one of those faces.
Guy, but...
No, it's one of those guys like he looks like, Home Alone kid. And like Home Alone grown up. I don't know.
Do you know what though? I give respect, right, to the cigar smoking. He did win. Like in fairness as well, he didn't spit the dummy like Cam did when they lost the Super Bowl. He was like, I just got to get back here the next year. Like, imagine if he was the Steelers quarterback, everyone would be like, they'd love him more than Ben.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I tell you what it is,
so
man.
Selective.
It's pretty much like when I used to go to parties and stuff, and you had like, your friend was a girl, and you had like a girl crush on her, and then she was like, well, she went and found a boyfriend, and the boyfriend comes in, and you're like, I can't stand this bloke, and then you find out he's a nice guy, and you're like,
yeah,
and he's like, oh, do you want a beer, Mark? And you're like, yes, thanks. He's like, oh, what do you? And he really like talks to you, he really pays attention, he understands who you are, he gets your jokes, he's funny, and you're like, far out, he's a good guy. But
it's like when they picked Jamar Chase at, what was it, like number 2, 3, or 4 in the draft. And I was like, that's ridiculous. He's not worth that. And then they had their preseason last year and he dropped all these balls. And I'm sitting there. I remember I was driving. I had a long drive back from something. And I was listening in the preseason last year. And Bucky Brooks was saying, this could be one of the worst picks for them. He's got to figure it out. He should be able to figure it out. But is he ever going to be a top wide receiver? And then you just like light up the first 3 weeks of the season, like 4 100-yard games. And like, and I just thought to myself, oh, it makes me so angry. The guy is like 5'0". He's like not even 180 pounds. He's scoring all these TDs. He's even blocking. Like, it just frustrates you.
Yeah, well, for me, like Burrow's got a punchable face, but maybe I'm jealous.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I have a lot of respect for their coach too. I think Zach Taylor's a really good coach.
You know what it is, like, because I kind of like with my Bengal hate, it used to be easy to hate them, like super. And now it's like it's a little bit harder because they're actually a good team and they play really physical. The way I wish with Steelers.
So my biggest hatred's for the Browns. I just think they're the most clown franchise that's ever lived. I think this stuff with Watson is just abominable in this day and age. And I respect the Ravens, but they're the one that I'm like, oh, I want to beat the Ravens every year. Like, because the thing is for me is I don't see the Bengals as, I think this has a ceiling on it, right? Even this year, they made the Super Bowl last year. They've gotten better on personnel. And I'm still sitting here and I don't think they're more than a 12-13 win season, that team. You know, they're not going to win the AFC North by a country mile, right?
Yeah.
So
my hatred was just from Vontaze. Vontaze not perfect. You know, all those dudes, Adam Pac-Man-Jones, Hushman Zada doing the towel, kind of stuff, right? Like back in the day. And now they're a pretty good team. And the receivers are crazy. So
Britzberg says Pickens will outperform Jamar Chase. Maybe on his rookie year, although I doubtful. Maybe. Otherwise, I think you're tripping. Nah, Jamar Chase is going to do more this year. Jamar Chase is arguably top 5 wide receiver in this league.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the show, eh? We can go outside and go clear the gutters. Hey, it's not too bad now. It's not too bad.
Oh, mate, it's worse here. It's worse here.
Holy dooly. I can see a bit of sun out there, mate, I think.
All right, question for you. If Cincinnati double up and win it again this year and they make the AFC Championship game, do they lose the bungle tag? Because they're not bungling anymore.
No. They always have that tag forever, right? But you have to go and lose the Super Bowl again, so 0-4. Like
that would get them that would re-get them the bungle tag. But if they made the AFC Championship game and they won the North,
Listen, I literally do not want to see the Bengals ever win until I die. Like until I'm like 80 years old. Like,
I don't want to see them win the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm saying. I never want an AFC North team to win the Super Bowl. What I'm saying though is that are they really bungling at that stage when they've had 2 years of success? They've not choked. They've just
look, they're getting it themselves. They're getting out of the bungle. You know what I mean? They're driving out of the bungle, but it's like it's still the same thing. I just never want to see it. Like I just don't. I just want to be like really old and like whatever age I am, and it's like 2060 or something. What's that? 38 years away, and they're like 0-6 in Super Bowls. I think it would be just the best. Like, and I'm like, and their fans have never seen one. It's just funny to me. Like, I was so happy they hadn't won a playoff game in 30 years. I counted the days every day. I would go into my computer and click refresh. And it was like 11,151. And then it stopped because they beat the Raiders.
Classic. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up this week's Steelers Touchdown Under. I'm Matty P with Marky D as always.
Go Steelers.